Welcome back to Academy TV. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment if you can. At the Black Gold Stadium tonight for Poole Town versus Turo City. Lads just coming out. The commentary throughout the game will be done by Jack Bishop and Jack Tanner, part of Poole Radio commentary team. Lads are just coming out. There's the lineups. So I'm going to check out here and hand you over to Jack Bishop and Jack Tanner. Enjoy the game.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Radio Poole Town. My name is Jack Bishop. I'm delighted to be back here. Delighted to know that we finally seem to have our technical issues behind us with the commentary and bring you hopefully some high quality coverage tonight of Poole Town versus Truro. Also delighted to have alongside me tonight Jack Tanner, who has been at the last couple of games while I've been away. Jack, the Hayes Yeading game on Saturday. Is any introduction to you might be interrupted by what's going on here? No. Jack, you were here at the weekend. Hayes Yeading defeat 4-1, a heavy defeat for the Dolphins, but certainly looking at the stats, it doesn't look like that was a fair reflection of the game. The Dolphins had more possession, more shots, more on target, and crucially from the footage that I've seen, there was a couple of very debatable sending-offs that weren't given the way of the visitors. So what did you make of that game?
I wouldn't call them debatable, clear, absolutely atrocious decisions. I speak with bias and without bias, just looking back at them. One of them hit the criteria of the 5 rules, it seems, that instant reds at any level around, especially in the Premier League. Off his feet, stud showings, 2-footed from behind, and to make matters worse, I thought Lively on the ball, that would have been the mitigating circumstances, which really shouldn't count for much. Watching it back, he didn't even make contact. But yes, the only thing that scoreline was reflective of was Hayes' clinical finishing. Poole slightly more wasteful shots. The only real concern is that Poole, for all their dominance, really struggled to make clear-cut chances. But I think if they play the same purpose and confidence they did have, then we should be in for a good game.
Certainly should, as the teams are about to get us kicked off here. Slightly later than the 7:45 kickoff that was due, just as well as we were slightly late coming on air tonight. But it is going to be Truro, the White Tigers in their red strip today against the black and gold of the Dolphins. And Truro get us underway, kicking from left to right. Way down the left wing in the air, cleared by Poole. Forward again by Truro, lofted forward with Tony Lee. First ball for him to chase. We haven't actually had time to run you through the lineups just yet, but we will as soon as the ball is out of play. There it goes, going to be a throw over on the far side. So in goal for Poole, of course, is Mark Charles. A fairly predictable lineup for the Dolphins. Declan Rose, Poole Genesini, Will Spetch, Jamie Wiskin, Dan Bartlett, Luke Holmes, Josh Carmichael, Tony Lee, Corby Moore and Jack Dickson. As Poole do have the ball back down now. Jack Dickson with it out on the left. JT was talking to me before the game about how Dickson interestingly started at right back with Genesini ahead of him, but Dickson's back out on the left today. Gives it away just on the halfway line though, and Truro can attempt to build their first attack as they go down the right. Lofted it into the box, but Mark Charles will comfortably catch that one. On the bench today for the Dolphins, Joe Wickham, Sam Jackson, Sean Wright, Luke Burbage and Will Fletcher. As Poole go forward down the left with Dickson to the feet of Holmes. Truro tried to get it away with Ewan Pollock, but his touch just runs away from him for a Poole throw in. Jack Dickson to take. About 10 yards into the opposition half on the left-hand side. Dickson back to Spetch. Gives it to Dickson again. Just about on the halfway line, exchanging passes with Will Spetch, not trying to rush it forward. He goes back to Wiskin, who's the furthest man back for the Dolphins. And over to Rose's back in the more familiar position on the right. Has played just about everywhere in defence for the Dolphins this season. Started in every competitive fixture for Poole so far as well.
Just the 6 or 7 minutes missed in all competitions for Declan Rose, 3 subs. I think I spoke to him after the game on Saturday. Told me to sing his praises. He's not liking his football. Obviously came from the Poole Town, which is a higher sound than this. But this is his first foray into singing football. against, well, alongside two Poole Town legends, really. All-time appearance maker Will Spetch and Jimmy Wilson's not far behind him. Slotted in seamlessly.
Yeah, not hard to come into a defence with so much experience already as a young player. He certainly will have been aided by Spetch and Wiskin alongside him. So Declan Rose doesn't play with the lack of confidence of a 19-year-old that you might expect. He's looked very comfortable back there so far this season, and even wore the armband in the cup a couple of weeks ago. Not too much action to report so far. 3 minutes gone. Poole 0, Truro 0. The visitors have a throw-in just in front of their own dugout on the far side from us. Goes sideways. Trying to work it forward. It's Pollock with the ball to feet again. Sprays it out to the right back, Ramza. He has it out to Thompson on the right. Put up by Dickson and Holmes. Tries to slide it through to Tyler Harvey down in the corner. Bartlett and Dickson doubling up on him. He gets it back to Ramza. Ball floated into the box fairly nicely. Over at the back post, headed on by a Truro body. They're going to try and keep it alive in the corner. Pollock does well again. Gets it back to a supporting midfielder, and they're forced backwards again, Truro. Always to the halfway line. They come forward again, though, on the left-hand side. Passing field. Now trying to slip it down the line in behind Genesini. Couldn't stop the cross coming in. Pollock was first for the header. Now drops to Thompson. There's a right-footed shot blocked, and Poole can get it away now with Holmes. Tries a burst of pace down the left, and he's just stood up by Thompson, who's getting back after taking the shot. Holmes forced back to Dickson. Does well not to lose the ball there, Holmes. Holmes leaves it with Bartlett now. Now Corby Moore. First touch of the ball for him. Gives it back to Bartlett. And feet of Carmichael. Slides it through on the right, and the ball man has been bundled to ground there. Referee is going to give something. I think it was Genesini who was getting in behind his fullback there with a nice burst of pace, brilliantly found by a through ball from Josh Carmichael. And he was just pulled to ground by the chasing Truro defender, who clearly knew that Genesini had the pace over him. I think he might have gone down a little bit lightly there, Genesini. He just felt the tug and went to ground where he might have been in on goal there if he could have stayed on his feet, but goes down. Poole have a free kick in a dangerous position. Not sure if a booking was given there. Jack, did you see one?
Yeah, something came out of the back pocket, so the player hasn't walked off, so I can only deduce that was a yellow. Definitely was a booking for where he's breaking free. Poole fans a bit ambitious calling for a red card, but as we've seen on Saturday, referees can do what they want at this level.
Yeah, certainly a fair booking. Of course, early stages in the game, only 5.5 minutes played here, but at any stage of the game, you can't be pulling somebody to ground like that as they go through on goal. And so Genesini's backing himself over the free kick as well. And he seems to have taken over the set-piece duty from Corby Moore since arriving on loan from Bournemouth. Genesini flows it towards the back post. Good cross over everybody, headed on by a Truro head. Tony Lee keeps it in play. That was Holmes on the edge of the box. Stood up by Thompson again. Does well to wriggle away from him. Right-footed cross is blocked though as it comes in. Truro will have to try and get it away. Holmes still standing up the defender. Forces him to go long. Carmichael misjudged the bounce of the ball, and it lands to the feet of Pollock. Declan Rose cuts out his passing field though. Rose can bring it forward now into the opposition half. Passes out right. Genesini dribbling infield. Now finds the feet of Carmichael, who's not too far out from goal. Goes to Holmes on the left instead. He's in a good crossing position again. Does on his right foot. Lee rises for the header. Blocked by a Truro body as well, and it's behind. I think it will be a corner for the Dolphins. Promising start by Poole, Jack.
Yeah, I felt it wasn't the ripping start they got off to against Hayes, where they looked in control throughout, but they've certainly grown into it, and obviously we're only 6 minutes in, 7 minutes in, so can't do much with so little time. But Dolphins just about getting on top now, asking questions of Truro, and they know they've got a bit of dominance from the set pieces, so hopefully Tony Lee or someone can get his head on this corner.
I think Genesini's backed himself to take this one as well. Swings it in. Looked a good corner. Lee was on the ground and wants something out of the ref as Truro get it away. And somebody all over the back of him. It's not an unfamiliar sight for Tony Lee this season.
Not as bad on Saturday. That was the other major gripe I had. Every time Tony Lee at a corner, he'd have a bear hug from the Hayes Yeading defenders, and some awful ones, proper headlocks that the officials just looked at right in the line of sight and getting the water. They're really bad. Like, not just your general bit of this between centre half giving it and the striker also giving it. It was proper one-sided, totally grounded, nowhere near getting the ball because every time it was pinned.
Here go Truro down the right with Thompson just about on the halfway line, stood up by Dickson. Ball gets in behind Holmes far too easily, and now Truro will try and get it into the box. One with Bartlett. Holmes did well to recover and defend. It's away to Dickson. Infield to Carmichael. Goes it with Corby Moore. Backwards again to Wiskin. Up to Declan Rose on the right. Moore in support, goes back to Wiskin again. Just on the this park just inside Poole's half. Goes up to Jack Dickson on the left. He's got Holmes in support, who was free as an option. Goes back to Spetch instead, still inside Poole's half. Now with Wiskin. The visitors not pressing too much, and Wiskin's allowed to try one of these long field balls to Luke Holmes on the left. He managed to get a touch on it, Holmes, but couldn't bring it down, just over his head. Flicked out for a throw in just down in the corner for Truro. We actually have time before we came on here to go through the visitors lineup. There may be one or two familiar names for you. There's James Heyman in goal, Rezat Rama, Connor Riley Lowe, Cheick Diabete, Niall Thompson, Jamie Richards the captain, William Dean, Tyler Harvey, Daniel Rooney, Ryan Brett and Ewan Pollock, the starting lineup for the visitors today. Bartlett goes in with a good sliding tackle there, a fair one, and sends it back to Wiskin.
I can tell Ewan Pollock's on loan from a Premier League academy. He's been trained to chuck himself down at any possibility there.
I think Bartlett did go in quite strongly but fairly. There was too much appeal.
And then Pollock reacted about 5 seconds after the tackle.
A bit Grealish-esque by Pollock. Ball sent long by Heyman. Dickson goes to ground and foul is given against Tyler Harvey. He looks furious, but quite clearly got a nick on Jack Dickson there as he was about to take the ball down. The tricks of an experienced player. Tyler Harvey's scored plenty of goals at levels higher than this. A 25 league goal season in the National League South before, and 50 appearances for Plymouth Argyle as well. Actually, the visiting team are formerly of Plymouth Argyle, including their manager, Jamie Walton. Dolphins trying to get it away down the right. Fouled by Truro, behind for a Poole throw in just inside the opposition half. It's actually gone the other way. It has. Truro are going to get the throw in. Just in front of Poole's dugout over on the far side. We are past the 10-minute mark in this one. Still Poole Town 0, Truro 0, but the Dolphins have had the better of the opening 10 minutes, it'd be fair to say. As you would expect, looking at the positions coming into this one, the Dolphins sitting in 4th in the playoff spots, Truro down in 18th, although they do have a few games in hand over most of the teams around them. They've only played 11, some in the league, including the Dolphins, played as many as 14. Poole trying to go down the right. Good by Truro ahead, not too far though, bit of a mix-up between Genesini and Carmichael, I think, trying to link up there on the right, and away by Truro. Carmichael pressing for it again. Truro man Jamie Richards did well to wriggle away from his challenge though. Now played down the left by Truro. Seen behind for a throw in by Declan Rose. Just under the floodlight over on that far side. Just ahead of the 20 box, so he'll be allowed to bring it a fair bit further forward, in fact. Rose's throw sent long into the opposition half. Bit of a tussle for possession over on that far side, and Poole come away with it with Moore. Wiskin slightly wrong-footed himself there. Bartlett with a good touchdown on the ball in the air. Rose to Wiskin, who goes long again. Luke Holmes is bursting forward there, and he gets it in defeat. Free kick given Truro's way as he tried to battle away from the defenders there. Did have Tony Lee making a bursting run ahead of him, but just couldn't quite get out of his feet there. Interestingly today, Jack, it looks like Josh Carmichael playing significantly further forward than the other two midfielders. It's like Corby Moore and Dan Bartlett as a very much identified midfield pairing with Carmichael almost in the 10 role. And Harvey gets it off a slip by Wishkin here and drills it across the face of goal. Only as far as Jack Dickson on the far side. Nobody in the box for the position, and Ewan Pollock raises his arms to Jack Dickson there as he tried to get away from him. Referee blows his whistle. Just be careful of those ones, Pollock. There's Bartlett. Gives it to Holmes' defeat, still inside Poole's half on the left-hand side. Now with Jack Dickson. Brings back to Spetch. Gets to get out of his feet and then goes inside to Carmichael, who's hassled by Richards into losing the possession. Now Thompson on the right. We'll want a 1-2 with Pollock. Pollock couldn't quite get out of his feet. Thompson's run is wasted. Now Poole can break as Carmichael wins it back. Holmes has to slide in as the ball runs away from him and the foul is given. I think that was a fair one. No intention there by Holmes to take out the man. I think he was just stretching for the ball, but he did take out William Dean, the central midfielder for Truro. And Dean will take the free kick. It's in the opposition half in the centre circle. Just on the right hand side, he's actually going to leave it to a defender. So, Cheick Diabete. Launched it forward, away by Poole. Down by Carmichael. Being forced further and further backwards, and then has to go out to Rose on the right. Does well, though. Now Rose can bring it forward. Uses Genesini in front of him. Genesini with a really clever flick around the corner. Rose again. Great crossfield ball for Luke Holmes, who could have got in there, but a really good recovering challenge by Ramza. Ball still with the Dolphins, though. Dan Bartlett recovers it. Into the feet of Holmes again. Drifting inside now. Takes it left to the edge of the box. Back to Dan Bartlett. Still on the left. Tries to deal one into the box. Far too close to the goalkeeper there, Heyman, who comfortably catches it, but a really promising break there by Poole. Starting off by Carmichael getting it to Rose. A clever flick around the corner by Genesini, and then a great through ball. I think it was Rose again who played it through to Luke Holmes, who was bursting into the space on the left, but just couldn't quite get his first touch away from the covering defender there. Quarter of an hour gone here. Still Poole Town 0, Truro 0. We are under floodlights here at the Black Gold. Interestingly, the visitors today have played 2 away games on a Tuesday night this season already and come out victorious in both of them. There's Salisbury and Yeate. Try to slip it into Thompson there. Dickson will see it out for a goal kick for Mark Childs. It might be the first touch of the ball for Mark Childs, this. He plays it short back out to Jack Dickson on the left. Rare that we see Childs take a goal kick short, but the Dolphins all staying camped on the edge of the box, clearly ready for that one. Bartlett exchanging a 1-2 with Carmichael. Ball's a little bit loose for him. He had to take a good first touch to get it away from the defender there, Bartlett. Into the feet of Holmes. Now Dickson on the halfway line. Holmes again drives into the opposition half. 2 defenders on him though. Loses out. Ramza tries to get it down the line. Met by the head of Spetch. Carmichael does well to reverse a pass in field to Bartlett. And Spetch gives it back to Mark Childs. Childs out to Rose on the right. And Harvey's over to stand him up. Goes in field to Corby Moore. Moore out to Spetch on the left. Poole not forcing anything here. Keeping possession well, knocking it about on the floor. Dickson with some really clever footwork to get away from Al Thompson here. Now runs at him. Thompson getting his body across, and Dickson, I feel like it might have been a foul there, but Dickson does come out with the throw in. Referee just saying it was a fair battle between Thompson and Dickson, a good one as well. Shoulder to shoulder in there. Thompson did end up on the ground, but no foul given against Jack Dickson. He'll be able to leave this throw in. Taken long into the box. Truro head gets it first and second. Slight mix-up in there. Jack Dickson on the end of the clearance. Fancies a long shot. Goes for it. Oh my goodness, he's rattled the crossbar. Second ball won by Truro. It was something of nothing. That Jack Dickson genuinely about 40 yards from goal, pinging a shot. Just for a second looked like it was going to find its way into the top left corner. It was dipping and swerving, but just rattled off the crossbar in the end. Brilliant effort by Jack Dickson. Unfortunate not to put Poole in the lead. Now Truro can try and break with Thompson. He's got out on the right. Luke Holmes is over to defend. Thompson cuts it to the edge of the box. Swing into the box. Off the arm of Josh Carmichael, and that will be a handball free kick. Just on the edge of the box on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I don't really think that even touched Carmichael. There's no deviation in the ball. But Poole fans might remember about 7 years ago, Steve Devlin scoring from halfway line against Truro on a midweek. 3-0 win there. Fantastic strike. And funnily enough, it's 8 years roughly since Jack Dickson made his debut for Poole against Truro in October 2013. So it would have been a nice way to commemorate that there.
Jack Dickson has come. Left the Dolphins back with them now and looking better than ever, I must say. Almost got a big goal there as Truro have it down in the box. Shot hooked in from absolutely nothing. The free kick was put into the box by William Dean. Not cleared properly, just bounced around in the box, and in the end, I think it was Tyler Harvey who was able to hook it in just on the left-hand side across the face of goal and rolled into the net. Really comes from nothing. That Poole have dominated throughout this game so far, and well, it could have almost been 1-0 to the Dolphins with Jack Dickson's spectacular effort we were talking about there just a moment ago. All of a sudden, Truro, against the run of play, have the lead here.
Yeah, slightly harsh on Declan Rose there. He's unlucky. His clearance wasn't the best, but Poole defenders are static. There's 2 red shirts in the box where the ball fell to, and about 6 or 7 black and gold shirts just stood around watching. So, in truth, really had the opportunity to clear there, or at least defend the second ball better. But this point for the Dolphins is Truro's first proper chance, and they've punished Poole.
Yeah, they certainly have. Poole just need to make good on the possession that they're clearly keeping so far and carve out a chance or two. No real clear-cut chance for the Dolphins just yet. So Jack Dickson coming closest, but that was a shot hit from about 40 yards. Here's Dickson on the ball again. I'd be encouraged to shoot again if he can get past Thompson here, but he goes back to Corby Moore instead, just ahead of the halfway line. Now with Dickson again, who's come in field. Tyler Harvey's already over the back of him. And Dickson skips away from a couple of challenges. Looks for a second like he fancied another shot. Tried to lay it to Genesini instead. The ball was slightly loose from him. Genesini fights to win it back though. And back to Declan Rose. And Rose now to Wiskin. He inspects the only outfielders in Poole's half. Wiskin tries a long ball to Tony Lee. Flick down for Holmes, it looked like might get on the end of it, but Heyman was quick to react and gathers it up. 20 minutes gone here now. Poole Town 0, Truro 1. Of course, Truro did grab a goal last time they visited here, last October. And the Dolphins did come out 2-1 winners on the day. Goals from Lee and Carmichael, both on the pitch today. Truro almost got in again there. Far too easy for Pollock. He had so much time on the ball on the edge of the box. Slid it into, I think, Ryan Brett there, who was going in on goal. Tried a driven shot at the near post, and Charles was quick to react with his feet to keep that one out. It'll be a corner for the visitors. Corner hooked in over everybody, headed at the back post by a Truro man, and behind. That wasn't a million miles off though. He did well to win it in the air. Seemed to be appealing to the ref for something, not too sure what, and he's not going to get anything. But
yes, you're saying it was a corner, and that might be the case. But he had 2 hands in the back of the Poole player. The referee really should be blowing up for that one. I think it did probably come to the Poole player last, but it should have been a free kick rather than a goal kick. Yeah, he's coming to the back of the Poole defender who's stationary with pace, 2 arms in the back. That's how he's managed to win the header. Oh, sorry, he didn't even win the header, it came on the Poole player last, so not sure what the Truro player's opinion for, not sure what the referee's given, but let off for Poole. I think they look a bit shell-shocked after that one, the frustration's creeping in. Really similar to the Hayes Yeading game, yeah, conscientious decision for the free kick, but we're in failures to defend, leading to the goal.
yeah, just seemed to have switched off a little in the last 5 minutes, Poole, after a really good opening quarter of an hour. Throw in taken back to Rose in Poole's half. Nobody in particular pressing. They're being encouraged to now for Truro. And Pollock came to Dickson. Exchanges a 1-2 with Holmes. Passes beyond Dickson though, although he manages to win it off Ramsey. Infield to Carmichael. Carmichael out to Genesini on the right. He's with Corey Moore. Shot was taken and blocked. Declan Rose will fancy a deep cross. Drilled into the first man. Moore hooks it in. Away again by Truro. Not enough bodies in the box if Poole are going to keep hooking these crosses in. Is Jack Dickson away from Pollock. Out to Holmes on the left. Cross. Looked like somebody might have pushed into the back of Carmichael there as he jumped for it. And he's in some pain in the box.
And again, Pollock just chucking himself to the floor 2 seconds after play.
Not too sure what Pollock wanted there. He's committed a couple of fouls of his own though as well. Physio on now to treat Jack Dickson, who's on the deck. Josh Carmichael has just made his way back up to his feet in the opposition penalty area as well, following the challenge for the ball in the air. Really just falling apart for the Dolphins after a really strong start, Jack. Do you think the game plan is right at the moment, keeping the ball on the floor and knocking it about? Or do you think might need to keep putting these crosses into the box as they have in the last couple of minutes?
Definitely not crosses at the moment. What they did on Saturday, couldn't really have any interplay to generate chances. The same sort of story. It's either whipping into the box because there's no idea, or midfielder taking long shots. And yeah, come close a few times, but it's really not sustainable to produce goals. Really need to find a way and get the ball into feet totally. Yes, he has got the heading ability, but if Truro know what you're going to do is try and whip balls into the box, they're going to easily cut off that corridor by either stopping the man get the cross initially or doubling up on Tony Lee. So it needs to be more direct on the floor rather than direct through the air.
Yeah, I think if it is going to be a crossing game for Poole, that might explain the decision to have Josh Carmichael playing so much further up. He's almost playing as a second striker at times, and he was jumping for the ball in the air there. That's how he did end up getting hurt. He didn't have any treatment though. He's allowed to stay on the pitch. Jack Dickson is off after receiving a bit of treatment. Should be fine to come back on when play resumes though. I think if you are going to try and play the ball in the air, then really it does need Will Fletcher to be up there supporting Tony Lee. Two strikers to aim for. They'll always get themselves into the right areas in the box, able to flick on for their strike partner as Dolphins get a free kick forward, headed away by Truro, out for a throw-in on the right-hand side, just about halfway into the opposition half. Reverse pass by Genesini, who's rushing away by Truro, only as far as Wiskin though. Nobody really forward for Truro. In fact, they're almost exclusively playing in their own half, certainly since opening the scoring. Wiskin has to chase that one. Gives it to Jack Dickson. Dickson clipped into the head of Carmichael, who did well to leap for it and head it on to Tony Lee. Touched it down and gave it to Genesini, overlapping on the right. Brings it forward towards the box now and was looking for Rose overlapping. A slight miscommunication between the two, I think, and pass behind for a goal kick.
You've got to start questioning why Tommy, who knows Brooklyn Genesini is a right back, at best a right wing back, is being used as a right winger ahead of Jack Dickson. Because when we've got Dickson and Genesini overlap each other on the right hand flank, it's worked perfectly. That's when Genesini's been at his best, or in a 3-5-2 with Dickson and Genesini on both flanks. But at the moment, no offence to Genesini, he likes to receive the ball deep and run into the area. Now he's been asked to play a role that's foreign to him. Unless Bournemouth have asked Tommy to use him as a right winger, which I sincerely doubt, he really isn't working out too well currently. Genesini's a talented player, can get forward well, but has better defensive attributes.
I think you're spot on there, Jack, as Truro try and get him behind with Pollock here. Charles puts it out for a throw. I think he might have done well to catch.
Sorry, Jack. I hate to call about referees, but the referee was showing an advantage there whilst Carmichael lost the ball. And rather than put it back, just put his hands down. So, unless that was a massive coincidence that as soon as Carmichael lost the ball, the advantage was over, which it wasn't. It barely even played for 2 seconds. That's a frustration, but Poole needs to be careful here.
Yeah, just not too sure what's going on, but Truro just all of a sudden seemed to have switched it on in the last 10 minutes after a slow start from them. Yeah, I do think you're spot on about Genesini. I've most enjoyed seeing him playing as a wing back, himself on the right, Dickson on the left with a 3-man defence. But yeah, clearly playing in a more advanced position as a right winger ahead of Declan Rose today, and not too sure if that's where he's best suited. He likes to take that ball from deep, wins it well, and able to drive when he does. Speaking of driving down the wing, is Dickson on the left, forced back to Spetch though. Spetch fancies a long pass for Lee to flick on. It was actually Corby Moore who'd burst forward there with Lee just ahead of him, but Moore not able to leap for it. She's exchanging roles with Carmichael there. If it was Carmichael in that position, he probably would have had the height to get on the end of that one. I'm not sure if he would have had the pace to get there in the first place though. Headed by Heyman. Long ball by Heyman, headed back by Spetch to Mark Charles.
I wouldn't say either side are particularly impressive today. There's frustration on the pitch from both sets of players. Just Truro have had one golden chance gifted to them from the Dolphins, and Poole haven't really been able to produce anything going forward.
It was just really sloppy bit of defending from the set piece there. I have to wonder how much set pieces are worked on. As I know Tom Killick has said to you, JT, before that he doesn't believe in tactics being too important at this level. I don't know if Poole operate zonal or man marking. It goes Dickson down the left to Luke Holmes in the opposition half. Wins a throw in off Ramsey. Goes to the feet of Holmes again. It was actually Bartlett there who won the throw in. Holmes back to Corby Moore. Halfway in the opposition half and in the centre of the pitch now. Carmichael out to Rose on the right. A lot of sideways passes at the moment for the Dolphins, but Genesini now will try and run it his full back and put a cross into the box over everybody in behind for a goal kick. That is disappointing one. Genesini all the way to the byline there. Not sure if that's where he's so comfortable, or if he'd rather be crossing from a slightly deeper position. As you say, kind of forced forward by the position in Rose, I think a slightly more defensive fullback. He's not often bursting forward and overlapping Genesini, usually offering the supporting option in midfield instead. Free goal kick by Heyman, might run through for Pollock, and Spetch does well to see it out by at the expense of a corner. Really not ideal stuff by the Dolphins there to let that one bounce. Half an hour gone here now. Still Poole Town 0, Truro 1. The goal, I believe, coming from Tyler Harvey. It's the loose ball in the box was bundled in from a free kick. Now they have a corner, the visitors. Swung over everybody. Poole man has gone down in the box. Referee doesn't want to know. It's behind for a goal kick anyway for the Dolphins. Fans trying their best behind, but even on the pitch, just feels dead almost. Even around here, you can feel life. Can't imagine we're looking at too high attendance now. Of course, it is a midweek game. We hope that if for whatever reason you couldn't be here tonight, you are joining us in the new and improved Radio Poole Town system that we finally got underway. Now, brings it forward for the visitors. Allowed to burst all the way down that wing. And Dickson will try and make sure he gets it out. And Thompson wins a corner off Dickson though. Last one wasn't great from this near side from Truro, but they'll be hoping for a better delivery this time. It's Ryan Brett who's going over to take it. Haven't seen too much of him throughout the game. The key battle in this one so far has certainly been Neil Thompson up against Jack Dickson on this near touchline to us. Two fast and physical wing players. Corner headed over again by Truro. They're being allowed to win everything in the air at the moment though. Poole just not alert to it. Ball looks high into the box at the back post and over several Poole bodies as far as the Truro head, and fortunately the uncontested header high and wide. A lot of power in it though. I think if it were down and on target, then Charles would certainly have struggled to deal with the pace on the ball there. Unfortunately, still just the one goal for the visitors so far. Child has the goal kick to take, sends it long to the right. Truro get it away and win the second ball as well. Poor pass picked up by Declan Rose, who's come over to the left-hand side now. Wonder if that's going to be a permanent change. Could be more. Trying to clip it into Genesini. He just touched off a Truro body and into the arms of Heyman. Heyman kicks it long down the right, Poole's left, where Declan Rose is once again. Wins it in the air. Moore out to Dickson on the right. Definitely been a switch of flanks. Maybe somebody in that dugout is listening to us, JT, as Dickson is now over on the right-hand side to support Genesini.
The next move will be to drop Genesini back and allow Dickson to operate further field as Wiskin almost loses out there, well recovered by Spetch. But again, it's just flat. There's nothing really showing in the midfield. Sometimes it feels like might be too many cooks in the middle of the park. Poole really crying out for a decisive playmaker.
Yeah, plenty of players who can play the simple pass and keep possession, which is what they've done so far. As I say, that Carmichael drills it against the body. Risky slide and tackle there by Ramsey. I think he won the ball though. Now Truro can come away with Brett. Pass slightly short of the left back there. Truro still in possession though, inside their own half. Ball pressing. And Dean Williams falls backwards again to his left back. He goes long for Pollock. Pollock wins a flick on. Nobody ahead of him though. He might still get on the end of it himself. He does. Really stand-off defending from Poole as they allow Pollock to get on the end of his own flick on. Wiskin might have done better there. And Poole not allowed to get away. Truro keep the pressure on the right. Thompson and Brett exchanging passes, and now Brett back to Williams. For a bit of footwork, gives it to Brett again. Finds Harvey on the edge of the box. Wriggles away from a challenge, but going backwards. Tries to play Thompson in, but Rose able to see it out for a goal kick.
It's games like this where you just makes it even more unbelievable how Tony Lee has 15 league goals, because he's feeding off scraps. There's nothing he can do more with his movement.
Unfortunately, our match statistics aren't quite at the level of expected goals yet, Jack, but I can't imagine Tony's would actually be too high this season. It tends to be, one chance a game and he scores it, I think. Really clinical striker, but as you say, often feeding off scraps throughout the season.
That's fine if you're a team that can bunker down and do the defensive work well, but as we've seen already with the sloppy goal, it's something Poole have been able to do. They just lack an individual spark. No offence to Tony Lee, he himself is a fine finisher. He can snatch at a chance, he can't generate that chance. And you've got Genesini and Dickson who can, but they're not really being allowed to thrive in the system at the moment.
I think Cheick might want to make some more tactical changes at half time. Of course, we've already seen the switch of Rose and Dickson just a few minutes ago. That is in terms of wings, not a substitution, by the way. Rose coming to the left, Dickson to the right. Here's Barlow on the halfway line, out to Rose on the left. To the feet of Holmes. Now with Barlow. Ahead of the circle in the opposition half. Now on the left with Luke Holmes again. A couple of step overs from Holmes, gets away from his man, but then goes backwards to Wiskin, who's in the opposition half now. As is everybody except for Spetch and Mark Childs. Not the best first touch from a ball man on the edge of the box there. Deep cross from Declan Rose over the head of Tony Lee to Carmichael at the back post. More shot, blocked and behind for a corner kick. That's better from the Dolphins.
Better from Poole, but that's about as much as they can do is to stretch the play with their wide players, move the ball quickly from side to side, and open up gaps. They did very well work there. Again, it's just not getting the ball into the box too Tony Lee. You've got a striker with that capability. Cutting the ball out to the edge of the area just doesn't make sense. You just need to find a more direct route to Tony to give him time and space, because can't remember a goal where he's had time and space to think about his finish so far this season.
No. I don't know if he can grow frustrated at all at times like this, Tony Lee. As the corner is in, headed down and off the line.
Genesini there nodding. This ball must have come off the line as Lee's holding the ball up here. Managed to get it back out, cross into the area.
Crossing again, short of any Poole players, though, headed away by Truro. Back into the corner again on the right-hand side now. And away for a Poole throw-in in the end. Yeah, it was the initial header won by the Dolphins. Low and unfortunately just dropped at a good height for whoever it was on the line at the back post to hook it away. Looking better for the Dolphins in the last couple of minutes, though. Ball hooked into the box again. Almost made its way through to Wiskin. Still alive for Poole in the air. Carmichael jumping for it now. Lee out again to Genesini. He's got Holmes with him and leaves it to him. Holmes the deep cross. Oh, and that's into the arms of Jamie Heyman. Unfortunate for Poole, and there's a man down in the box as well. Referee going to blow to stoppers. I think it is a head injury. Doesn't look like anything too serious, though. The physio is being called onto the pitch once more.
Yeah, Will Spetch there. He's been nursing a foot injury. There's a few there. Tony Lee's also got a back injury. And Jamie Wiston's got a groin injury. And those are your three most physical players that you asking to go up end to end for corners. But yeah, it just seems to be people they either have to work harder or they have to have a creative spark. And really, you're looking to Josh Carmichael to provide that, and he's been flat all season. A little bit of a spark there, and nice little turn and run, which set up that move. But even Luke Holmes as well, he looks good on the ball, but he's yet to have any real end product to make it show. And you can't really afford to have passages if you haven't got not offering something creatively.
I'm just confused by exactly what Luke Holmes' role is today, and for most of the season he's sort of been in what you would call a free role. He's been in an attacking midfield position, but then tends to mostly stay on the left at the same time, often very wide to the touchline, and then there's a gap for an attacking player in there to link up between the midfield and Lee when the ball does come inside. There's often Holmes just sort of almost holding hands with Jack Dickson on the left as Poole try and get it forward. And as I say, can sometimes leave Tony Lee quite isolated that. Carmichael is playing much further forward today, though, as we've said. Almost a second striker to Tony Lee today is Carmichael.
Oh, I wouldn't say he's been that. I wouldn't say he's been anyone that close to Lee. He's a very solitary figure, and almost Carmichael and Bartlett are like Fred McTominay at United, just midfielders, and that's it. There's been real no link for Lee apart from crosses into the box from out wide. Maybe Luke Holmes will drift in central, but yeah, it's very much a flat three of more Carmichael and Bartlett, and like I said, no creativity much between them.
And, speaking of, Corby Moore has just hooked a long ball to absolutely nobody. Only a few minutes left of this first half, and Poole looking like they are going to go in one down. Dickson gets away without a foul. There is he.
I think the referees deduced that Truro are more than happy to shut themselves down anywhere when a Poole player comes anywhere near them, and I think the referees kind of calling their bluff now. It's about 4 or 5 times I've seen the Truro player go down quite easy, and the referee not buy it. So hopefully they'll cut that out. But at the moment, I wouldn't even say it's a poor performance. It's just one bad mistake in the back and nothing really shown going forward.
Yeah, as you've said though, Jack, really flat from the Dolphins, I think is the best way to describe it. And just players in the midfield there, you just want to see more from, say, Carmichael. I don't think he's been at his best this season. It's a player who's really impressed me previously in my time covering the Dolphins. I thought he was one of the most talented players in the squad, but hasn't had too much of an impact at all throughout this season. We know he had fitness problems at the start, but they should be behind him now. I really want to see him back at his best, but he struggled to get himself too involved.
I think three of Poole's most creative midfielders, Bedford, Holmes and Carmichael, all seem to be in a bit of a funk, a bit of a rut, not really providing the one thing that they really can. And it's left Poole, there's a sign of a good side if you can grind out wins through hard work and through gritty, determined performances, but Poole can't always manage that. They're relying on slices of luck going their own way, and really they need someone that can take the game by the scruff of the neck, not just score goals themselves but create chances for others.
Yeah, certainly would be nice to see Jez Bedford back in this side sooner than later, especially for these games where you really want to be getting all 3 points at home. Really would be nice to have Bedford in there rather than 3 almost identical central midfield players.
Cornwall was very distinct compared to Carmichael and Bartlett. Bartlett and Carmichael are just slow, quite slow on the ball, poised, good switches of play, and Cornwall was a bit of a workhorse in the midfield, especially considering he spent most of the time at Poole primarily as a left back when he first came here. But I just think Carmichael and Bartlett is sometimes too many cooks spoil the broth. And Corby Moore can't really give you anything going forward if he's left to be covering for the mistakes of other players. So, really, I don't think you would have seen him. Really cool to someone like Steve Devlin, who was, like Corby Moore, very dogged in his approach, but had the creativity, had the ability to switch play at will. And of course, as evidenced by his long-range goal, he had that talent. And also, in a way, missing Marvin Brooks because he allowed Poole to play the other way, a more gritted, direct style of play. But Poole haven't really got anyone who can hold the ball up apart from Tony Lee, and if Tony Lee's holding the ball up, there's no one to pass it to. Sorry, it's been a while.
That's right, I don't think you've talked over anything too important, although the ball is hooked into the box, and dearie me, Truro are 2-0 up. Another goal out of absolutely nothing. A free kick on the far side, just ahead of the halfway line near the dugout. Hooked all the way into the box. Mark Childs came out to meet it, and I think he missed the catch, and then Truro had an easy head into an open net. Poole Town 0, Truro 2, just on the stroke of half-time. And I don't think Truro have played to merit a 2-goal lead, but at the same time, Poole, once again, falling to their own mistakes. It's so often the case for the Dolphins when they do lose this season. Is more than anything just a product of their own shortcomings than anything in particularly special being done by the opposition. We saw it most terribly at Kings Langley with the 3-0 defeat, 3 goals that were all Poole's own fault. And now the Dolphins 2-0 down here to 2 very sloppy free kick goals. But Poole have allowed Truro to win just about everything in the box today. Confirmation it was Cheick Diabete who got the touch on that one to pick up the goal for the visitors. And I think Tom Killick will be bitterly disappointed as the Dolphins come in at half-time following the 3 minutes added on that we've got here.
No, Tommy, I don't think it would be disappointment. I think it would be a much stronger and directed emotion. Directed its players, because even out there it's just flat. There's not much calling. There's Tony Lee shouting his frustrations, and he's a bit quiet now. It seems like no one's listening. But again, it looks like this pass is going to come into the middle of the pitch. Be passed around the back for a few times. Nice to see Declan Rose there trying to speed things up, calling for the ball. But again, Poole just looks soft. I think they really need to switch the 3 at the back. I think they might be slightly scared considering Truro got 2 up top, but now they've got nothing to lose, and they really need to show some impetus, especially attacking-wise.
And here goes Luke Holmes trying to do just that as he wriggles away from 2 challenges and brings it infield. Now to Carmichael. Can get it out of his feet. Genesini will keep it alive for the Dolphins though. But Carmichael again in field. Carmichael gets it out to Dickson on the right. Trying to come in field. Truro defending in numbers now. Like a pack of wolves hunting down the man on the ball there. I think we saw Truro already sitting in their own half and playing defensively at 1-0. I think now at 2 they really are going to sit back and try and defend this lead. I don't think you can blame them.
If you get gifted 2 goals, why would you attack? Why would you?
And just sit back and wait for the next Poole mistake.
Yeah, all you need to be now is concentrating your own defending.
Free kick swung into the box by Poole. Headed away by Truro. Didn't make it as far as any black gold shirts. Tony Lee trying a switch into the corner. Don't think Genesini will be able to keep this alive, no. Just be a little bit of frustration from Tony Lee there as he really hoofed that ball out to the right wing. Just wonder how differently this one could be looking right now. Jack Dickson's shot just dipped a couple more inches. as Truro scored almost immediately after that long shot right off the bar by Dickson. That was the best moment of the half for Dolphins, either that or the corner that was cleared off the line at 1-0.
Yeah, that's what Poole Grass want to do. They have generated more than Truro have in terms of pure chances. Truro have had 2 free kicks, 2 goals, 2 mistakes. You could say 4 mistakes because, well, actually the Carmichael free kick was a very soft free kick, but it was a stupid foul to give for the second. And where the free kick was is such a silly position, but yeah, it is just flat. It just kind of feels like no one's really interested in it from Poole, apart from save 1 or 2 who are showing their frustrations. Not everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, well, time for them to get themselves onto the same page, as Tom Cheick will have an opportunity to air his thoughts on the first half. It is Poole Town 0, Truro City 2 as the teams go in. We'll be back with you in 10 minutes to cover the second half here from the Black Gold Stadium.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, not a great start. Horrible first half, but that's half time. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment if you can. Thanks for watching Academy TV so far. Hopefully Poole Town can turn this around in the second half, but not really many positives. Same situations we're in again. Hayes and Yeading need to turn this round. I'm going to hand you back over to Poole Town Radio, Jack Tanner and Jack Bishop for the second half. Thanks, guys.
Welcome back to Radio Poole Town, where the teams are out for the second half here. One change being made at half-time or 2 changes being made for the Dolphins. In fact, it's Will Fletcher coming on for Dan Bartlett. So Dolphins, again, heeding our advice from the first half, it looks like, and going to a 2-striker formation nice and early. I suppose that would be a response to being 2-0 behind now. Want a bit more support for Tony Lee. And the other change is Sean Wright on for Will Spetch, which we believe is to do with the injury issue that he was suffering from just towards the end of the second half there. He was down in the box receiving treatment for some time, and he is now off the pitch. So 2 of the 3 changes made by the Dolphins already, as we are about to get the second half back underway. The 3 other scorelines at half-time from throughout the Southern League South as the second half gets underway are Wimborne 0, Merthyr 1. Wimborne also a man down there. Chesham 0, Beaconsfield 1, and Harrow 0, Gosport 0. So this is the only fixture at this level that has had 2 goals in the first half. Unfortunately, not the way that we would have liked to have seen them, but there we are. Goes Corby Moore in midfield for the Dolphins. Apologies, thought we might have had some technical issues again, but fortunately nothing wrong with our new system just yet. What's wrong with Poole's system in the first half, however. Themselves 2-0 down to 2 set-piece goals. 2 fairly scrappy ones at that. 45 minutes to recover for the Dolphins, though, who looked so good in the early stages of that first half. The first 10-15 minutes really looked like they could make something happen, but just couldn't find that crucial final ball. Tony Lee pretty isolated so far, but at least he's got a strike partner now. Will Fletcher will try and chase this ball on the left. Seen up for a throw-in. Fletcher might fancy taking it quickly. Oh, it's actually gone Truro's way, unfortunately. Fletcher looked ready to take it. Throw just about in line with Truro's penalty area on the far right-hand side. Headed forward by a Poole man, behind for another Truro throw-in. They've just got it a bit further up the pitch now. About halfway up their half. Truro here. Going to make it 3 wins out of 3 on the road on a Tuesday night this season. Really not bothered by the travel on a Tuesday night. There we go. Poole coming away with Sean Wright getting his first touch of the ball. Gives it to Jack Dickson at right back. He hooks away with one, away by Truro, but only as far as Declan Rose, or best forward again on the left. Got Holmes ahead of him. Tries to reverse a pass, but just not on the same wavelength as I think that was actually Genesini on the ball, trying to flick it through to Holmes. Make sense of where everybody's playing now. Looks like Genesini's gone over to the left. Jack, that's an even more unfamiliar position for him. Not sure if he's ever played on the left for Bournemouth at youth level. I don't know if perhaps Cheick's been told to experiment with his positioning a bit. Ball winning it high up though, through Fletcher. Back to Truro though, and they can clear. Wright does well to win the header. First aerial battle for him. Carmichael can't get to it, so that's out for a throw in by the visitors here, just on the halfway line. Back with the score of the second goal, Diabete. And Ramza bringing it forward. Looks down the line. Thompson, cut by Genesini. A good sliding tackle as well. Back out to Thompson though. He'll take it to the byline. Try to cut it back across the face of goal. Cleared away. And the Dolphins on the left again. I'm trying to reel away from challenge. Truro come away with the ball. Holmes is absolutely furious with the ref there. But nothing given. Except for a Truro throw-in. Too sure if there's much to appeal for there. Did have a couple of players on him, but not too sure if there was a foul in there. Thompson's throwing forward. Just waiting for the throw-in to be taken over there, and now it has. Truro get it down. Away by Poole, though. Now right on the right, as it happens. Might have gone to Dickson. Tries to put Fletcher in behind instead, and out of play. That's really poor by Sean Wright.
Feel for him because Dickson's meant to be offering him support on the right and he just decides to stand in the middle of 3 red shirts and there's just no other options. Like I said, there's just no creativity in this Poole side, and if they can't get the simple hard work done, they don't really stand a chance of generating anything apart from lumping the ball forward. And some might praise the introduction of Will Fletcher, but still hasn't had a touch of the ball because there's no one to supply him. There's no point in having 2 strikers because now you've got 1 fewer player to just smack balls up top.
Yes, turning to hit and hope already for the Dolphins. Only 51 minutes played here, but as you say, the lack of playmaker really showing for Poole. It's an area where, in the past, oh dear, poor infield pass, really getting sloppy for the Dolphins now. I mean, last season you had Christian Sadie here on loan, of course, from Bournemouth, who was a clinical striker, sort of turned playmaker all in one. He would drop into spaces deep and link up play really nicely and get it forward to Tony Lee and support him, and as I say, turn into a striker and get ahead of Lee when necessary as well. He's a really important part of the team last season. Christian Sadie, here goes Tony Lee, gets a good flick over a defender's head, one-on-one with Diabete, and Diabete gets the better of it and gets it away as well. And that, once again, Tony Lee just looking to create himself a chance out of nothing. A clever flick over a defender's head. Looked like he was going to run in one-on-one there, but Diabete with good defensive covering managed to get it out for a throw-in. Cross-looked in. Up to more poor chested touch. And Truro can get it forward. Charles will receive this one though. As I was saying, I don't know how strong the connection with the Cherries is at the moment. Only Genesini we've seen on loan this season, but if there is a creative player at Bournemouth who would be available to come down here for even a month or two, it really wouldn't go amiss at the moment. Of course, Christian Sadie has been featuring heavily in bagging goals for Bournemouth at under 23 level. We're not going to see him back at Poole, that's for sure. I think he was certainly playing below his level while he was here, but it was nice to have him around. Top player, Christian Sadie. Here we go, Poole down the left. Luke Holmes. Fizz to the edge of the box of Will Fletcher. First touch of the ball for him, and he commits a foul on the Truro defender. I think he went down softly there.
Yeah, the Truro player has his arms around Fletcher. Fletcher's backing into him. Turns, and Truro player again just collapses to the floor looking for the foul and wins it. But again, the introduction of Fletcher hasn't changed anything. Because now Poole just got 2 men to kick the ball forward up.
Yeah, Fletcher's first opportunity to get himself involved there, and he did well to wriggle the defender off him, and then the defender, as you say, who was initially all over Fletcher, decided to throw himself to the ground and win a free kick. Throw in for the Dolphins on the left-hand side. Second ball to Lee. Can't get out of his feet though. Truro get it forward. Harvey slightly loose there. Truro get it down the right wing. Skip past Genesini well. Cross into the box. Headed away by Wiskin there. There'll be a throw in. Once again for Truro over on the right hand side. Just about in line with the edge of the penalty box. Throw in touchdown by a Truro player there in the corner. Throw in goes Poole's way now. Opportunity to get it out. No apologies, still a Truro throw in. Headed away, Truro keep it alive though. Cross comes into the box again. Harvey can't quite turn on it in time. Trying to get a shot away. Blocked. Away by Poole. More into the feet of Carmichael. Goes one more to Luke Holmes. He's got both strikers ahead of him now. He has to pick out a good pass. Goes to Fletcher on the left. Fletcher forced very wide. Might have been better to play Lee in through the middle. Uses Genesini's overlapping. Left-footed cross. Lee at the back stick. Headed down. Nobody there except for Carmichael. Can't get there and Truro get it away.
That's just Carmichael's complaining. And if there's anyone who should be getting complaints, it's Carmichael. He's not touched the ball the second half. He's complaining Lee couldn't properly head that back down across from goal as Carmichael lazily sauntered into the box. That's really annoying me. Sorry for that coming across, but there's one player who really shouldn't be calling out others. It's Josh Carmichael at the moment.
Yeah, if he was any quicker getting himself into the box there to support Lee, he might have actually got on the end of that one. Instead, he, as you say, just sort of hung back almost on the edge of the box and then vented his own frustrations at Tony Lee. Lee did absolutely the best that he could with that ball.
Considering it wasn't a brilliant cross from Genesini, right idea, poor execution. Did well to get anything on it. So looked over him. Good tackle there.
Poor Genesini's been forced to cross on his left foot now. He struggled enough with his right foot crossing tonight, and now he's over on the left wing. Certainly feel like it would make more sense if somebody was needed over on the left to put Dickson back over there. Have Genesini as a right back.
Wondering if Dan Bartley probably feeling hard done by. He didn't really put a foot wrong during that first half. Not sure why he's come off ahead of Josh Carmichael.
Yeah, interesting decisions that have been made, and just the constant switching of fullbacks and wingers. And just you have a go on the left, you have a go on the right. We'll see what might work. Nothing's really working for the Dolphins tonight. Free kick easily claimed by Mark Charles. Gets a sarcastic cheer as he was able to hold on to a free kick. First time tonight. Fletcher couldn't win a flick on there. Truro man going to ground again after having his hands in the back of Will Fletcher there. Truro get it away. Sean Wright up against attacker who's offside. Harvey. And allow Wiskin to take the free kick. Carmichael's come short to receive it.
And that's the one thing Carmichael's in the team to do, is to switch play and find the ball out wide, and there he's just fired it straight into a Truro player, and it kind of highlights why he should have been subbed at half time, let alone not started.
Yeah, he was in acres there, Carmichael. Had so much time to pick his pass out. And it wasn't a terribly difficult one that he was looking for, with Lee in space on the left. Drilled it straight at the opposition fullback instead. Probably more. Forward for Fletcher. Can't get the flick on. Truro try to get it down the line. Behind for a goal kick for Mark Charles to take. Approaching the hour mark here. Still Poole Town 0, Truro 2. Charles' goal kick sent into the opposition half. Lee jumps for it, can't win it though. Truro get it down. Here goes Dickson. Overhit pass for Fletcher, will keep it alive though. Back to Luke Holmes, is over on the right now. Holmes is cross-hooked in, but nobody in the box. Two strikers on the pitch, nobody to aim for with the cross.
Tony Lee was at the back there, just a poor cross, but I don't know why Luke Holmes is operating as a third striker, so there's even less of a link up between the midfield and the strike force.
Well, Holmes just seems to be a sort of occupying whichever touchline he wants to. He's hugging the left or hugging the right, but as I say, so often that means he finds himself. He just seems to go wherever Jack Dickson goes, and then they both end up doubling up together, where you really need Holmes to be inside, able to link up play and pick a pass out. Just totally disjointed Poole side at the moment. I'm not sure if this part of tactical instructions. A corner comes in, headed away by Truro. Poole did get to it first, but not much on it. Kept alive by Poole. Genesini has to try a left foot across again. To the edge of the box for Carmichael. Drills a shot across the face of goal and just wide. Promising opportunity there. Carmichael drills a shot on his left.
It took ages to even set up for the shot.
You're not liking Josh Carmichael tonight, are you, Jack?
Hopefully, yeah. Go for it.
I'm not a subscriber to my Josh Carmichael fan club at the moment, JT. I have to say, on the basis tonight, I might have to close it down.
I think it's just the Tony Lee bandwagon for me at the moment. It's just odd to just see this inconsistency. I know it's a relatively young side, but there's experience. Jack Dickson, he may be 24, just come from the National League, 5th tier, has 150 games in Poole colours. Yes, I understand it's a small squad, so you can't make sweeping changes, but Joe Wickham should be introduced, but it looks like it'll be Luke Burbage instead.
Yeah, clear push in the back there by Diabete as Lee looked to get a flick on. Excuse me. Truro with a clever hook ball down the left for William Dean. To the edge of the box with Harvey. Might set up for Thompson to have a shot. He does and sends it. I think that might break a window of one of the houses behind the John Allen Grove stand there. It's an absolutely flying.
Taking Jamie Wiskin off for Luke Burbage, so probably going to go back to 4 at the back.
Yeah, 62 minutes played here. Third and final sub for Poole Town already. Jamie Wiskin off for Luke Burbage, so really throwing the kitchen sink at it now. And Burbage is probably the right man to come on. We'll go into that attacking midfield position, hopefully, and just offer a bit more link up towards the strikers. If not there, then perhaps over on the right. He does seem to be coming out to the right, so Luke Holmes will hopefully finally play more centrally. Charles gets it forward. Truro man all over the back of Tony Lee, wins the header, and now Poole will have a throw in just by the dugout again. Sent back into Poole's own half. Rose switches to Dickson. Be interesting to see how Poole do set up now with another centre half substituted off. Dickson coming in field. Sends it left to Genesini. Cross on his preferred right foot. Fletcher at the back post, one by Truro ahead instead, it'll be a corner.
It's at least a corner.
Somehow the ref has given a goal kick there. Although it's quite clear that that came off a Truro head, but apparently not.
Yeah, Glenn House has been around.
Yeah, just confirmation of the inevitable just in the last few minutes from Dorchester. The appointment of Glenn Howes as first team manager with James Wood following him as assistant. It will certainly add some metal to Tottenham versus Dorchester on Saturday. Of course, Poole go to Frome in the FA Trophy at the weekend. And here goes Ewan Pollock down the left for Truro. Good touch to get into the box. Far too easy for him. Drilled shot on his right, just wide of Mark Charles' far post. That could have been 3. Ewan Pollock got him there far too easily. Clever touch past, I think it was Wright who was defending there.
Yeah, now looking at the defence, it's not even a back 4. Or if it is, Dickson was miles out of position. It was actually interesting to see because at that point, like Genesini's left centre back and Rose in the middle. Former Dolphin Josh Leslie Smith just scored second for Weymouth. Nice to see him in the defence at the moment.
I don't see any extra bodies in the Dolphin squad, really.
I think the departure of Luke Pardo for the start of the season, Pardo wasn't always consistent, but there's another body in the squad, there's another attacking midfielder, or one attacking midfielder, and it just breeds competition. It takes the pressure off. We are complaining about certain players not being in form, but when you've got a squad this thin, if one player is not in form, there's no one that can really step in and replace him. Carmichael's done well there.
Yeah.
For Corby Moore.
Yeah, Pardo's player that I did like. He's good with the ball at his feet, quick to make a decision, quick with a burst of pace as well, but you say it's just one less attacking option for the Dolphins. And the lineup always so predictable. Truro have it in the box again. Harvey shot, and that's a brilliant finish into the top left corner. It's 3-0 Truro. I think it's game over for the Dolphins as Ryan Brett, who's received it on his left, hit a first time shot back across goal into the top left corner. A brilliant finish. Mark Charles was never going to get anywhere near that. A really good finish, but the Dolphins just seem to have given up at this point. No work ethic. Nobody even looks too bothered that they've conceded there. Just a complete drop of the heads. And the Dolphins are looking at an absolute hammering on the end of a team.
I was just shouted there. Dolphins are throwing and they've conceded.
Yeah, absolutely livid, Mickey.
Come on, Poole! 2 or 3 passengers that 8 are carrying, and then when a few of those players that are carrying them drop their heads, the rest of the team does.
Yeah, it was often a problem for Poole in the past, as those senior players in the team, the leaders, not quite doing their job on the mental side of things when Poole fell behind. I think we saw it at Kings Langley. Of course, Corby Moore got himself sent off. We're seeing it again today. Not much desire. And I say Poole looking at what on paper as teams around the leagues look at it, at least a 3-0 defeat. They're going to think that Poole have been on the end of a hammering to a team who came into this one 18th in the division. They do move up to 12th as it stands with this result, but not good. Not a good look for the Dolphins.
Tottenham quickly becomes toxic whenever there's a blip. I mean, which is slightly ridiculous. Side still is in the playoff spot. Already, the defeat Kings Landing saw people talk about relegation. This side isn't getting relegated. Yes, there may be doubts about the playoff credentials. It's a very tough league, very early on in the season. But when you look at Tom Killick's record, the grief he gets, considering the highest this side ever finished beforehand was 16th in the Southern Premier, and people will say at the time that was the fifth tier, 16th, and I think the most points they got was about 45. And already we're close to going that. As Tony Lee goes down, calling for a penalty, I don't think it was anything in it. I think there is this almost toxic level of expectation surrounding Poole. Yes, there's a minimum expectation that's been met today, but I do feel that Poole players probably feel they don't get as much respect as they do when they win, and when they lose it's turned to an unrealistic standard. Obviously they haven't met standards today by any stretch of the imagination, but it does seem that heads drop quicker here when things aren't going their way, because fans are more likely to jump on them than other clubs.
Yeah, we're just seeing people on the forum, Jack, following the defeat to Hayes Yeading, who look likely to be runaway title winners this season. And Poole, despite the actual scoreline in the end, did clearly give Hayes a game, looking at the stats, and yet people were talking about writing off the playoffs because Poole were defeated by Hayes Yeading, as if, of course this is a slightly more of a blip than losing to Hayes Yeading, but there's going to be results all throughout the league for every team dropping points where perhaps they shouldn't. It's just that sort of level of football where, anything can happen. One team has a bad game, and I'm sure even Hayes will. Ball into the box by Burbage, headed over by Tony Lee. Decent opportunity that. But yeah, no, I think saying, we lost this game, we should have won it. We lost this game, we should have won it. We're not going to get the playoffs. Yeah, you have to look at it and say you're working on the expectation that no other team around the Dolphins is going to be dropping silly points here and there, and they certainly are. It's a tight league. It always has been, always will be at this level of football.
That's what I say. Truro, this is a very strong Truro side. Again, aren't doing too well. They are playing significantly away from their own home in Plymouth, but their side that's settling.
There he
got
goes.
Fantastic talent as you and Pollock here.
Pollock bursting into the box and wins a corner. Yeah, we're saying Truro that haven't started that well, but it's down to how close the league is that actually makes them look poor, because, as I say, coming into this one in 18th, with the victory today, they already move up to 12th. They still have up to 3 games in hand on most of the teams above them, so an opportunity for them to push towards a playoff place if they can kick on from this result as well. And with the quality of players in their squad, you would think that they can do so.
Quality players that they do have is quality players that can afford to miss out. Rocky Neal's serving a suspension for a betting ban. And they've got Rio Garside, who's a brilliant young talent from Plymouth. As Mark Charles just makes sure that one potentially going out for a goal kick, he has to tip it over. Rio Garside's out on loan. It's just the players that they have got that haven't travelled today or aren't in the squad, and they can still name a strong team. This isn't the end of the world as a result. I think the main concern for me will be the performance levels, the commitment, the frustration that's creeping in, which can be a positive thing. Not unusual to be frustrated, but it needs to be channeled positively.
It does. A bit of positivity around that Mark Child's catch from a corner. And then he drops it as he goes to kick out of his hands. Rolls out to Carmichael on the right, though. He's got Genesini in support now. He's come over to the right as well.
I mean, that's highlighting what I mean by that toxic atmosphere. Now every time Mark Charles gets the ball, he's being booed and whistled by his own fans. That seeps in. It's not going to do him any confidence at all. So it just kind of sums up the almost entitlement that Poole fans have, as Carmichael almost slips to give the ball away there.
Yeah, really poor from the Poole fans. Mark Charles did make the mistake on the second goal, but I don't think he's a player that deserves criticism with the season that he's had. One mistake, and now every time he catches the ball, he's getting sarcastic cheers from portions of the support here. Just don't think that's necessary. Once might have been funny, but it's going to continue. Genesini's throw to Carmichael. Definitely back out on the right now, Genesini. Puts a cross into the box. Once again, nobody there, and Heyman easily catches. Nobody to aim for, even with 2 strikers on the pitch.
Again, it was a poor first touch by Carmichael, and he gives himself a task to do to pass it to Genesini. It's a poor pass, a poor cross. Again, it stems back to that creativity. If you just haven't got the creativity, then you have to work hard. You have to do the basics right, and Poole just aren't doing that at the moment. And slowly they're losing more and more confidence. It's harder to imagine why they pick this up. They're going to a tough tie on Saturday against Froome. They'll be just as good as a Southern League side as Tony Lee's bundled there.
This could be a red card. Tony Lee taken to the ground as he was about to go through on goal.
You know what, I think Tony Lee might have tugged the Truro defender to win that foul. Didn't look too natural, but he has landed on the shoulder awkwardly. He's in a lot of pain here, Tony Lee.
Yeah, you can tell by the way he's writhing on the ground there. He's certainly in some pain. I don't think he's the type to fake it, Tony Lee.
Well, not the type to fake it, but certainly the type to try and convince the referee otherwise. But it looked just unnatural in how he went down in terms of his arm placement, but that might have been because the Truro player dislocated it.
Well, we certainly hope that's not the case, as the Dolphins have already made all three substitutes. Concern for Tony Lee here. Referee still not committed to a decision. It was a yellow card. There.
Glad to see the referee there. We've seen in the Premier League where he's let the injury make his mind up in regards to the foul. The Pascal Strike challenge to Liverpool summed it up. Certainly booking. Yes, concern here with Tony Lee. He's had a quiet game only because no one's been able to give him the ball.
Yeah, it's something that really frustrates me as well, Jack, is when you see a player break their leg or something, break an ankle in a freak accident, and the opposition player involved is sent off just because of the severity of the injury, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the way that the player has actually gone in with the foul. Yellow given there. I don't think it's to do with the foul or the pain that Lee's in. I think it's because of the position as Lee was about to go through on goal. Bundled to ground. Still some noise from the Dolphin supporters over in the John Allen Grove stand. Good to hear. As we enter the final quarter of an hour here. Poole still 3-0 down to Turo City here.
You got their captain now, number 6. One second. Yeah, number 6. Slightly concerned how long Tony's been down. I haven't seen his left shoulder move.
Yeah, certainly. Safe to say cause for concern now with Tony Lee. He does make it back up to his feet. Doesn't look to be in too much comfort now. I think his game is over. And the 3-goal deficit to overturn in a quarter of an hour, I don't think it is worth risking Tony Lee. You can only hope that he is back to fitness, if not for him at the weekend, then for the next Southern League game, which is Walton Casuals the following weekend. That's the last thing that the Dolphins need, is no Tony Lee. Really struggle to see where the goals might come from without him. Free kick is in a dangerous position for the Dolphins. Will Fletcher does stand over it. Interesting that he's going to step up with Corby Moore and Brooklyn Genesini, two preferred set-piece takers both on the pitch. So Fletcher clearly fancying the shot. Absolutely dreadful. Miles over by Will Fletcher. If he was converting a try, that might have been a useful kick, but as an effort at goal, of no use whatsoever. Still Poole Town 0, Truro City 3. 13 minutes to go, plus whatever's added on. Sure, we'll see at least a couple of minutes for the stoppage with Tony Lee on the deck there. He's now gone off to no substitution, as the Dolphins had already made all 3 by the hour mark in this one. At least Will Fletcher was one of those, so the Dolphins do still have a recognised striker. Although doesn't seem the midfielders are recognising that throughout the patches of this game. Forward from the Truro goalkeeper. Down with Dickson on the left. Sean Wright in the middle of the defence. To Carmichael. Tries the spectacular ball to the left again. This time it does come off for Genesini. Truro do well to defend and then clear against Genesini and win a goal kick. Substitution for the visitors there. Their first of the game. Shane White, defender replacing Ewan Pollock, who's been a consistent threat in the attack for Truro today. Bit of head tennis in the middle of the park here. Now Poole get it down. Out to Genesini on the right. First touch might have got away from him, but he keeps it and leaves it with Burbage on the right. He'll come in field. Slips Fletcher into the box. Cross driven in. Right to where Tony Lee might have been, where he's still on the pitch.
Tony Lee is back on the pitch. He's moving very slowly and his left shoulder isn't moving at all. He's just hiding at the back post there.
Oh yeah, Lee is on the pitch, you're right. Not moving comfortably at all though, he's clearly favouring that left shoulder. Truro will get it away here. Yeah, Lee clearly in a lot of discomfort as he's back on the pitch. I'm surprised that he has been sent back out, especially at 3-0 down already. With only 10 minutes to go here now. I thought the Dolphins would have simply accepted that the game's gone and not risk Tony Lee any further. He clearly didn't particularly fancy getting on the end of that cross. He's got his left shoulder in a really unnatural position against his side. It's a substitution made by the visitors. Number 7, Ryan Dickson, on for number 10, Daniel Rooney. So 2 Dixons on the pitch now. There's Corby Moore. Hooked forward only as far as Diabete, who got it away, the scorer of the second goal for the visitors. Genesini to take the throw in here. And to Carmichael and gets it back. Carmichael again, linking up with Genesini nicely as he runs in field. Out to Burbage. In line with the edge of the box. Goes back slightly in infield to Carmichael. Carmichael trying some clever footwork and ball just gets away from him. Now he's going to try and chase back, but he hasn't got the pace either, Carmichael. Yeah, I think we might see a foul from him here. He's clearly frustrated. Yep, pushes the man down. Yeah, he does get away with it. Yeah, I don't know what Carmichael was trying to do there. Some fancy footwork, and then
you need to be careful, Jack, because we've just been told off. Well, I've been told off on the forum for criticising Josh Carmichael there.
We do take into account that he didn't have a pre-season. I talked about that earlier. Said that obviously he had some fitness problems coming into the season. It was allowed a slow start, but 15 league games into the season now, you expect him to have got back to his best by now. And he has really struggled, especially today.
I'm also meant to criticise Tony Lee more. I've blinkers for Tony Lee. Poole ripped apart again, no midfield.
Yeah, Truro make it 4.
It's been a poor team performance all around, and I think that most of the blame should go on Tony Lee. As Ali quite quickly points out, I've got our blinkers for him. Just where was Tony Lee at the back there? Yeah, I think the only reason why I've blinked to Tony Lee is because he's been, and you would agree, you have agreed, there's been very little he's done wrong because he hasn't had the chance, but he's wrong. It's not like he was earlier on in the season against Farnborough where he missed big chances. He's been clinical with what little he's had. At times, we've praised him for his pressing when no one else gives that injection, but there, I wouldn't even say there's midfield. Completely bypassed, poor defending as well. But yeah, unfortunately,
it's hard to find. Yeah, it's hard to find much to criticise Lee for, to be honest, because just about every time that he does actually get to touch the ball, he puts it in the net. So maybe he should be working harder to get that touch of the ball. But I think that's certainly from being here and watching the game. I think it's more so on the midfielders not getting it to him.
There's also probably the blinkers again, but it speaks volumes that 4-0 down, 3-0 down, potential to dislocate his shoulder. He's clearly not fully fit. He's still on the pitch trying to make something happen. I don't see. I can understand if there was things I was overlooking with Tony Lee, but at the moment he is the bright spark. It must have been a fairly dismal performance. Nice little play there by Jack Dickson, and fair play, a good pass by Josh Carmichael who fed it through. Saw the Dolphins a corner there, but that's probably the first decent bit of play we've seen.
It is, and there's certainly not going to be any bias involved, because I agree with you on Carmichael today, and as I was saying earlier, I'm usually a huge fan of Josh Carmichael. I really thought that in previous seasons he was one of the Poole's best players and one of the first names on the team sheet. But as you say today, I think it would have made sense if he was the man to go off rather than Dan Bartlett at half time. Bartlett was doing the same job as Carmichael, but just quite significantly better today. But on the edge of the box to Holmes, tries a long shot.
Well, I have said in recent weeks, good shot there by Fletcher, who's unlucky as he flicks that one. Past few games, I felt Luke Holmes has been a lot better. He's been unlucky not to have that final ball. I think against Swindon he was at his best, and against Murphy he hit the post twice and was very fluent in that performance. I felt Josh Carmichael had a better game against Murphy.
Of course, I wasn't at Merthyr, but as Supermarine, Luke Holmes was brilliant. I've been quite critical of Luke Holmes throughout the season, but in that game he was great. Released the ball quickly, which I think is his main downfall. He tries to do too much with it. I don't know what's going on here. The keeper's doing keeper for some reason. Oh, just waiting for a sub. Yeah, no, Luke Holmes, I think in that Supermarine game, he moved the ball on quickly. Was rarely quiet in possession and actually did a lot of defensive work as well. I was really impressed with him on that day, but he's just falling back into old habits a bit at the moment. I think the main issue for me is his positioning, but I don't know if that's on him or on Tom Killick in asking him to hug the line.
Luke's been asked to fill a gap that traditionally Tom Killick used to have in the midfield. Pettifer, Devlin, Brooks. They had the perfect mix of defensive stability with Pettifer, being able to switch the play through Devlin, and dogginess through Devlin, and then also the physicality of Brooks ball. It just seems kind of like Tom Killick trying to stick to the same formula, and that's why I felt the 3-5-2 was better. I felt Carmichael looked, well, even over the 3-5-2, the 3-5-1, where Tony Lee's up top, and Luke Holmes has allowed that more free roll, because he's more covering the midfield. But even after the switch at half time, I haven't really seen a better performance from the midfield.
Yeah, Truro looking to get in here again. I think Genesini will be first to it. He's got to deal with it though. Throw-in given to Poole. Berber's just trying to get it through to Genesini, who's overlapping him there. Truro can get it away instead. Apologies, we've just...
It's a miserable negative commentary because, as you can tell, the atmosphere here is flat. The performance has been flat.
There's nothing to get excited about, and there's not too much to tell you about, really, which is why we've just turned into more general chat about the club rather than what's happening on the pitch.
Which is common when you see dead rubber games that results decide and the play slows down and it's slow pace the second half. The fourth goal coming out of nowhere for just slowly for Dolphins. it's just bizarre as a whole. The side just lurches from strong performances that look like shades of the title-winning season in 2015-16, and then just to a side that hasn't really gelled together. I think some of that's young performances, and individually Sean White's been fantastic, Declan Rose has been fantastic, but now at the moment, Genesini, Dickson, Wright and Rose at the back, from the goalkeeper, and the best of confidence in the front midfield, it's been absent. Of course, it's led to 2 goals. Fletcher's done well here up front to win the ball back and advance into the area. And I spoke about the advantage earlier. The referee didn't play. He stopped the advantage very shortly. He's given Fletcher a long...
It's about a 20-second advantage there. We'll take that, I suppose. Yeah, Fletcher was burst into the box there unsupported once again. But Tony Lee is only sort of half on the pitch. Oh, there you go, Jack. There's something you can criticise him for. Clearly he shouldn't be on the pitch at this point, but he's still out there, but only just. He's not really even breaking into a jog. Ball is into the net from the free kick. Dolphins have one back.
I'm not sure if that was Josh Carmichael or an own goal. As you can imagine, no Poole players...
You're crying it's an own goal.
No, I'm not. It's a decent header, whoever it came off of. I can't confirm who scored. And no one around the ground really. There's been a few slipping out as we've got about a minute and a half left. Carmichael was on the floor and in the area, but the deflection it took kind of fooled the goalkeeper. So I imagine it was an own goal, but I can't say for certain. But it's nice to see the Dolphins finally making a set piece work. I did. And the one thing actually I was critical of Tony Lee of Anton Cheick. I asked him what was the point of Tony Lee taking long things. He didn't see any payoff in terms of a goal scoring opportunity. And it just leaves your top scorer outside the box and your 2 centre halves at the top. And that's where Hayes Yeading's third goal came from. They're hitting the break. So yeah, not completely blinking over Tony Lee.
Interesting. Lee went from sauntering about to absolutely sprinting at the Truro defender when they received the free kick there, or the ball from kickoff. Sorry, it was a ball free kick that the ball came from. We're still not sure who's scored it. Rob's not confident enough to make an announcement either. The ball was hooked into the box by Genesini, I know that much, from the free kick. A few seconds left of regulation time in the second half here, and there's a big red 4 going up on the far side. 4 minutes to snatch 3 goals at least from this one for the Dolphins, with 10.5 men on the pitch. Rob stuck his neck out. He said Josh Carmichael scored the goal.
I've personally credited Josh Carmichael with the goal, and that's been slipped through to the league officially. And I think Jack Dickson, was it Carmichael? I'm not sure who's on the floor here. Someone slipped and fouled in the referee's book, but I thought Carmichael on the receiving end was a free kick for Truro.
Ball with Luke Holmes out on the right. 2.5 minutes of the 4 added on still to play.
Good knock on there by Tony Lee. And again, he's got a bad back and he's got a shoulder injury he's now carrying.
I think Lee should have done better to find Fletcher there personally, Jack.
It just kind of get to the point where it just needs to cut your losses.
Yeah. Burbage out to Genesini. Back to Burbage on the right. Crossing to the edge of the box, away by Diabete. Harvey up against Sean right here. Harvey does really well to keep hold of the ball, reel away from Wright's challenge. Just over a minute left for this one. JT, dare I ask for your man of the match? Any Truro players' impression tonight?
I think Declan Rose is okay. Obviously, he had a mistake for the first goal. He looks like one of the few players to care. Same goes for Corbin Moore, but neither have been perfect. Really, by process of elimination. Sam Jackson bore on the bench pretty well tonight. I think it was between him and I believe Joe Wickham. It's a shame not to see Joe Wickham come on. Probably not the best atmosphere for a youngster, but yeah, really coming no one. Maybe Josh Carmichael if he did get the goal, but again we can't even say for certain if he did. So yeah, it's just been one of the, I said Saturday is one of those days and Poole's can't afford too many, but this is all on Poole. It's been a flat performance. Their own mistakes have been punished. Can't look to blame the referee. And they did take responsibility for the defeat, but they haven't really reacted to that.
Yeah, flat is the word. As the referee blows his full-time whistle. Not too much for us to say at the end of that one that we haven't already. Poole Town 1, Turo City 4 at full-time. The Dolphins back-to-back 4-1 home defeats. No league game to be played until next weekend now for the Dolphins, so they might see themselves slip from their current position in 4th out of the playoffs by the time we can play again, which is Walton Casuals next Saturday. Of course, Froome in the Cup this weekend, also away. Walton Casuals away next weekend, so 2 away trips to follow. And we hope that if you can't make it to those ones, you do choose to join us again on Radio Poole Town. Myself and Jack Tanner will bring you all of the live action and hopefully an improvement from the Dolphins. But for now, Poole Town fall to a defeat against Truro. Thanks very much for tuning in this evening and good night.
4-1 then, final score, not good enough. 8 goals in the last 5 days. Poole Town need to turn this round. Thanks for watching Academy TV. See you next time.